Welcome to the High Ticket Success Podcast, where premium coaches, consultants, and advisors come for bold strategies, big breakthroughs, and real results. I'm your host, Dave DeBow.
Hey, kids, welcome back. Today, my special guest is not only a very successful coach, she's also very successful at helping other people in the coaching space become more successful and have a better work-life balance. And she's also a very avid skier, and I think probably 8 notches above me in ski level capability. So, Melinda Cohan, welcome to the show. Great to have you.
Thank you so much, Dave. It's so good to be here. And I don't know, we may have to go skiing together to figure out.
I'm already intimidated. You told me all the places you and your husband have been skiing, way beyond my capacity. But anyhow, yeah, no, that would be a lot of fun. So, Melinda, it's hard to believe you're such a youthful looking person, but I think you've been in the whole coaching thing for like 2 decades now.
Yeah. Yeah. And thanks for saying it. It's been 21 years, which I can't even believe. It started with an idea on a napkin, and here we are 21 years later.
Well, maybe give us the Coles Note version of how you got into coaching and how that led to where you are right now.
Yeah, it was one of those things that kind of found me. I was happy where I was, doing interior design, helping people be their best in the spaces they worked in, and workplace efficiency and geeking out on all that kind of stuff. And then coaching found me, and I realized, wow, I can help people be their best no matter where they're working. And so started coaching, made a quick transition, very successful transition. In 6 months, replaced my previous salary and then some. And I thought all coaches were having that kind of success, and quickly learned that was not the case. So then I was like, aha, I know what I'm here to do, and started on my life's purpose and help other coaches eliminate the burdens and distractions of behind the scenes. Coaches and entrepreneurs, they're great at the skills and calling that they have. Not so much at the business owner side of things. Like that's a new area, new territory. And so that's where I help them feel confident in putting on that business owner hat. And what do you need to know behind the scenes to show up as a business owner, run your business so you can get clients and get paid by them and do the work you love without burning out. And that's what I've been doing for 21 years now.
Nice. So you got a lovely spanky looking new book behind you there. That's kind of your main focus these days. Tell us a little bit about that. First of all, my eyes are not as good as they used to be. So what's the name of the book?
The book is Sustainable Success, Thriving in Business and Performing at High Levels Without Burning Out. It's actually my 3rd book, which my dream was 1. When I wrote 2, I couldn't believe it. 3 still feels a little surreal. But
then you realize it's not as big of a thing as everybody makes it out to be. It's kind of one of that monster in the room that everybody's scared of. But once you do it.
The first book was that monster. And then once I was like, oh, I got this. And then I found the flow. And now it's just, I love it.
Nice.
But my first 2 books, they're on the top shelf up there. But actually, I'm a professional coach. It's all about the back end business detail side of things. But this latest book, Sustainable Success, it's how you're showing up, how you're being while you're doing all the stuff you have to do in business. Because that's what I truly found. People can learn what they need to learn, the strategies, the marketing, the tactics, the hacks. They can learn. All of that is learnable, figure outable. And it's how they show up while they're doing all that makes all the difference. It makes all the difference in their confidence. It makes all their difference in the energy that is contagious in marketing or contagious with their clients. And it makes all the difference in how long they're able to live their life and live their dream and live their calling and do the work they love. And so this is what I've always lived, but never taught. And now I've got it in book form so that people can really.
Okay, well, let's take a little dive in there, Melinda. So where do most of us kind of screw things up the biggest when it comes to that you've seen? Because you've been working with the coaches for a long time now. So you name it, you've probably seen it. You've helped people through it. So where do we typically just crash and burn?
That's a little question. As it relates to this book, what I find is that our calling is so important. Like, this is not just a job we're doing. It's not just some one ad that we found in the paper and like, oh, let's go do that for a bit. Like, this is our life's purpose here. And so it's such an important thing that a lot of times we can dip out of passion and we dip into fear. And that fear has us giving our power away, listening to so many different gurus saying, oh, well, they told me I need this. And then off I go there. Oh, but they said I need this. And now I go there. Oh, but I need to do that. And now we're all over the place scrambling.
I'm chuckling because I got that shiny object syndrome challenge myself. So yeah. I can relate. Yeah.
And so that fear starts getting us scattered all over the place and we lose our confidence. Then it becomes an identity issue. Then it becomes a worth issue. And we get on that fast track to burnout. Listen and learn, create and do. Listen and learn, create and do. Learn, create, listen, do. And it's just that really quick, fast track to burnout that rarely comes with a lot of results because it's just a knee-jerk, I call it the oh crap, now what syndrome. And
so what's the opposite of that? Or what do you suggest people look at doing instead of that? Because I'm sure so many of us are stuck in that hamster wheel of frustration and getting burnt out.
The first thing that I talk about, and I teach this with all of the students I've worked with, most people take business as a head trip. They think their way to success, which is fine. But we also have to get out of our head and get into our body, get into our full being, bring our full self, our body, mind, energy, spirit, bring all of that to the work that we're doing. And most of us, when we get in that burnout loop, as one of my friends calls it and teaches it, we're operating in survival state and we're trying to create a successful business from survival state, flight, fight, freeze. There's a lot more F's, but we won't get into those here. But we try to build our business from that survival state. And you might have sporadic success, but it's not going to last. And so we have to get into that executive state to kind of go into neuroscience for a little bit. Okay. We can't be running on adrenaline. We can't be running cortisol, the stress hormones through our body, because that shuts down our creativity. It shuts down the way we hear and see opportunities. And so when we can tap into well-being, when we can use self-care as a business strategy to keep us plugged in, to keep us nourished, fueled, in harmony with ourself, now we can bring all of ourself to, if it's figuring out marketing or understanding copywriting or learning cash flow statements or whatever it is, we're not just thinking our way through it through fear, but we're using that self-care as a strategy to help keep us fueled and approaching our business and work that way.
All right. So just speaking from my own perspective, Melinda, that sounds great.
Yeah.
But I don't consider myself, for example, very dialed into the, forgive the term, woo-woo side of things. I'm way up here, way too much to my detriment, right? So I'll put that right out there. So for a dunderhead like me that tends to kind of get stuck in the head, very, thinks they're logical, thinks they're analytical, that sort of thing, haven't dialed into the warm, squishy, good stuff on the inside as much as we should. What are some ways of doing that for people that are unfamiliar with this?
Yeah, it's a great perspective. I understand it. I'm one of those unique individuals where I operate out of both left side and right side of my brain. So I can really appreciate where you're coming from. Mm-hmm. And when I talk to some of my students, one of the things that I'll ask them is, what's your morning routine? What does that consist of? And a lot of times you're doing more already than you realize, but we're not seeing it through that lens. And so the first is just to realize, well, I'm already doing it. It's actually not woo-woo. It's just part of my normal day-to-day activity. Let me just acknowledge it for what it is, how it is nourishing me, how it is helping me to show up. Because seeing through that lens, changing that perspective changes the way we show up. So that's one of the things that I talk with the students about. And then the other thing, it can be as simple as one of my favorite hacks that I've read about. Sunil Gupta talked about this in one of his books, the 55-5 hack. And it can be, you just pick up your phone. And some people, this might be too long, so there's shorter versions of this. I know when I would sit down at my desk, I love the work that I do, right? There's that old adage that says, if you do what you love, you'll never work a day in your life, right? Well, for us, that can be a double-edged sword because then we just work all the time and we work our fingers to the bones without realizing it. But when I would sit down, hours would go by where I'm like, I've not stood up. I haven't drank water. I haven't even gone to the bathroom. Like I've been here just going. And so to set your alarm for 55 minutes, work on a project when you hear the alarm, even if it's just something as staring out the window, taking a deep breath, and then go right back to it. Or go get some water, stand up, or just give a stretch. As simple as that. 5 minutes later, you're back and you're at it again. It can be something as simple. It doesn't have to be anything woo. I hear that a lot. Doesn't have to be anything woo-woo, but just a pattern interrupt that makes sure you're not depleting your brain, but that you can still leverage your brain as you're working on various projects.
Yeah. So take a little break every hour, basically, right? Every 55 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah. One of my colleagues, he does it. He's like, I can't last 45 minutes. So his is 25 minutes with a 5-minute break. So, whatever it is for you, but something as simple as that can be profound, and it doesn't have to take a long time.
Yeah. Good tip there, Melinda. Now, you're talking earlier when we first started about the importance of energy, like getting connected with your energy and what that looks like how that really kind of affects things all across your business. Can you kind of unwrap that for me a little bit more?
As far as say that again?
Like you're talking about the importance of your energy and how that kind of comes through everything that you do.
How it's contagious. Yeah.
It's contagious. Yeah, that was the term that's used. So your energy is contagious. So for some of us who might not be as energetic as we should be, or our energy isn't coming out that way, do you have any suggestions on how we can become more aware of that, or how we might be able to unveil that?
A lot of the places where I see that showing up, when coaches or entrepreneurs, let's say they're in an enrollment conversation, maybe it's a one-on-one enrollment conversation. Maybe they're doing a webinar to an audience of people. Maybe they're standing on a stage to a room full of, 10 people or 1,000 people. But in those enrollment conversations, when we are presenting ourselves and we're saying all the things that we know we're supposed to say, but in our head, we're like, oh God, did I forget that? What do I need to do? Oh my gosh, do they really want to buy from me? Who am I to say? Why would they buy from me? There's so many. When our self-talk, and I call them villains, when our villains are getting the best of us, it is sucking the energy out of us. And then we're putting on a facade, right?
A fake face.
A fake face to get through it. Now, you might say all the right things, but inevitably, the people on the other side of that conversation are going to sense something. They may not be able to explain it, but they'll be like,
something's off. The vibe's not right.
The vibe's not right. That felt weird. Like, And it'll just leave like this little tiny crinkle. And that little tiny crinkle will prevent people from taking action. And it will take them longer to figure out how to get to their yes, even if you have the most amazing program that they know is exactly what they need. And so when I talk about that energy, it's making sure that we are taking care of ourselves internally so that we are mitigating that, lessening that. And it could be through learning strategies. Maybe you haven't done a lot of enrollment conversations. Maybe you need to learn those strategies for that. But then it's also, how do we combat the fears? How do we minimize? And that's where that well-being and that self-care, the more that we nourish ourselves, the more we quiet the fears, the more they just begin to dissipate and stay. They may not disappear, but they might stay at arm's length. So somebody might be backstage before they get on their webinar, before they take the stage, and they're like, oh gosh, I'm nervous. They might do a little shaking, might do a little dance break or a couple of deep breaths. They're like, all right, let's go do this. And now there's this unity with their energy, and it's not this fake facade, but they're showing up as their true authentic self. And the audience or the person on the other side of that conversation senses that. And it's like, I don't know what you got, but I want some of that. And that's how that's how they sense that energy.
Have you worked with anybody specifically on that challenge? And if so, can you share a story of what they were doing before and how you helped them kind of overcome that?
how they were putting that fake facade up.
Yeah.
I mean,
Okay.
yeah. I mean, I experienced that myself.
Okay.
And so whenever I've been, 21 years I've been doing this, I don't know how many tens of thousands of webinars that I've done to hundreds of thousands of people. And I've done live events, in front of a room of 10 people to 50 to 100, 500, if that, of all sizes. And I used to get so nervous that I'm like, I am actually going to vomit before I go on this stage. My nerves. And then I would become so self-conscious that it was almost paralyzing. And I learned a psychosomatic technique, shaking. Right now, I'm not going to get into all that. I know enough about it to be dangerous, but it's a healing technique that, we've learned from animals. Dogs do it, cats do it, they shake. And so when we can shake our hands or shake our shoulders or shake our legs or shake our bodies, it's moving that energy so it's not clenching up. And it's that clenching up that creates that tight stomach, that block, that pit in the stomach, the lump in your throat. You're like, oh my God, I'm going to vomit. But when we can shake and we can move that energy, we become more grounded. We connect with our true self. And so the energy, as my business partner says, well, if you've got butterflies, just make sure they're all flying in the same direction.
Yeah.
You're not going to get rid of them, but we want to be mindful of how we navigate it. And so that was one technique that helped me. Now I still get nervous. But now when I'm off screen, I'm shaking, I'm doing a little dance break, and I'm moving that energy, not just because it's fun. Some people are like, well, that's silly. Well, it might be silly, but it gets my energy going. So now I can show up on screen, and now I can deliver great value to the people that are attending.
I know a lot of people get very nervous and uptight and kind of get weird when they're doing one-on-one enrollment conversations with people.
Yeah.
Is it the same recommendation, or do you have kind of a different take on that?
For one-on-one, it's slightly different. I still do breath work. For me has always, and when I say breath work, I'm not a fancy breath work practitioner by any means. But when I say breath work, I mean inhale for the count of 4, exhale for the count of 4, and do that 2 or 3 times. And when you're doing that, it's resetting your nervous system. And in that moment, we're getting out of beta state and we're dropping into alpha state brainwave. Mm-hmm. And in doing that, our perception increases, our creativity enhances. We're able to hear things that otherwise we might miss. We'll pick up on nuances of body language. And so now we are much more engaged in that one-on-one conversation. So I will always take several slow, usually to the count of 4 or even to the count of 6, in for 6, hold, out for 6. And then another thing I like to do, I'm a very tactile person. Even though I owned a technology company for 21 years, I love pen to paper. The artist in me is like touch, feel. And so I will take an object, whatever the object is, and during that one-on-one conversation, I'll just hold it in my hand. And having that physical object that I'm holding, it allows me to tap into that sense of touch that keeps me present. And so it helps my mind not to wonder or not to go, oh God, what am I doing? They're not going to buy this. Why? I shouldn't even offer this. They can't pay for that. They can't afford that. Why would I even do that to them? Like, it stops all of that because it grounds me into being present, engaged in the conversation. So something as simple as that helps me to be present and show up. So it could be something as simple as that. And I find that when I can take 5 minutes before a conversation and prepare myself, not review my notes, not review all the tips and tricks and hacks I learned for what needs to be included in an enrollment conversation, just trust myself that I've learned all that. But just to gather myself, get centered, get grounded, and show up present in whatever is important for me to be present, do that. And it's an engaging conversation. And then from there, just to remember, if nothing else, if you remember no tips or strategies for enrollment conversations, just listen to the person on the other side.
Yeah.
And have that engaged listening, that active listening.
That's huge. Yeah, I've had to work on that myself, that's for sure. And you're right, being present, not thinking 3 steps ahead all the time, just kind of being grounded, really trying to understand what the other person is looking for and up against. And then also, I try to kind of remove myself from the outcome as well, which is basically just, hey, be present in the moment. Whatever happens is going to happen. Trust yourself that you're going to provide value to the other person one way or the other. And then that takes a lot of the pressure off.
Yeah, that right there. Having the goal of providing value. Now, one of the things I teach our students, don't overgive. Like, don't give everything. There's a fine line, right? We don't want to overgive because then they'll be like, oh, well, thank you so much. I don't need to hire you. I've
scratched that itch. Yeah.
I need. But that providing value. And another thing that I've always told our students, be prepared for the yes, but don't be attached to the yes.
Yeah.
And that being prepared in advance. So it's like when they say yes, because most people are like, holy crap, they said yes. Oh, now what do I do? They start freaking out in all new ways. Yeah. But it's like, okay, if they say yes, what's next? Well, you have to do X, Y, and Z. And so let's make sure we've got that handled. So be prepared for it and then release the outcome, trust, and listen. Yeah.
Well said. Melinda, this has been fantastic. I'm sure there's going to be some folks wanting to find out more and connect with you. What should they do?
The best place to go is the book's website, sustainablesuccessbook.com. And when they go there, they can get a copy of the book. And I also have written a companion guide because apparently when I was done writing the book, I wasn't done writing the book, but it was actually to the publisher. And so I wrote a companion guide. And when you go to that website, you can download that for free. And it goes right along with the book as well. And I go deeper into behind the scenes stories and things that didn't get included in there. So sustainablesuccessbook.com.
Wonderful. Melinda, thanks so much for being on the show. This has been a lot of fun.
Thank you so much.
All right, everybody, take care. See you on the next one.
Thanks for listening to the High Ticket Success Podcast. Want to be featured? Share your story and inspire other premium coaches, consultants, and advisors? Apply now at highticketsuccesspodcast.com/guest.